how to do this fun little leopard print by using just a couple colors of ink and some paper. So we'll get started. The first thing that I did, seeing that animal print's the biggest rage right now out in the fashion world and in any kind of design, I printed a picture of a leopard and tried to copy the spots that were on him. And I decided, seeing that the natural color of the leopard is kind of a creamy color, I went with the So Saffron. So take your sponge, and this is also So Saffron classic ink. Build it up to whatever you like. I like to leave the center a little lighter and highlight the edges somewhat. I start out light and then I build up my color. So you can see there's more of a lighter original tone of the cardstock here, and then I've inked the edges for a little more dimension. What I'm going to show you next is we're going to do the color on the center of the spots first. And you'll notice in this picture that there's a good distance between all the spots, and that's what we're going to try to do on our sample. So I'm going to use more mustard, classic ink, and my sponge dauber. Just move it around and you'll see you add a little more, give yourself a little space, add another spot. Sometimes you can take your sponge dauber, I've zoomed in a little bit closer so you can see better today, but sometimes if you run it in a swirl it makes a nice effect. Sometimes you can just push it and you'll kind of get almost like the look of the animal's hair. That's why I use the textured cardstock, because it helps with the look that you're going for. Just add different spots. I know it looks a little odd right now, but once you add the black to it, it just pops. Continue on onto your sample piece of paper. Everything is different. They're not all the same. Nothing is uniform. Now at this point, what I've also done, because I like to make things glittery, as you well know, I've had a couple of ideas. The one idea that I did on this sample, and I'm not sure if you're able to see it in the light at all, but there's a little bit of glitz on here, and all I did with that is take the Smooth Spritz in Vanilla Shimmer, I think it is, and shake it up. And then just put a couple of spritzes on, and you can either let this air dry, or I just use my heat tool, so I apologize for the noise for a moment, and just dry it. You'll see the paper start to flatten out once it's dry. That's a good sign of knowing that it's pretty well dry. Another idea is to add some of this shimmer paint in Champagne Mist in the center. So I'll just do one for the sample for you, and I just took my aqua painter without the water, just using the brush. You can also just paint a little bit on some of those spots. So we'll do a few. So I'll hit that again with the heat gun for a moment. So what I'll do is start taking this black ink on the applicator. I dab it in, and again, nothing perfect. You just want to make lines where you want this black to be. I start to outline it and then I fill it in and make it thicker, just like the animal has. Go off the edge of your paper so it looks natural. You want to leave some of the center color and go more out onto the outside with your black. Sometimes there's a little spot inside his fur all by itself. You can add that in different places. Sometimes if you stand back, you'll see, oh, I think I need to add another piece of black over here. So give yourself time. This is a fun process, but take your time doing it. Build up your black. Hopefully you'll try this. It's really a nice technique. It's not as scary as it looks. Looks like the leopard, I think, for a fun way to do scrapbooking, card making. Here's a couple that I did. I made a larger piece, just cut them into pieces, and I'm going to scrapbook my page with that. So hopefully that gave you an idea